Okay, let's see if we can welcome each and every one to the Brad and Squeeze Show. A very different day today here on the Brad and Squeeze Show. So much happening in and around our community right here. But want to welcome each and every one. It's hosted by yours truly, David Squeeze Annakie, and of course our attorney, Bradford H. Bernstein of the law offices of Spar and Bernstein. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, we're here actually to help a lot of people. So remember, reach out to us right now and get your questions answered right here. 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Call us with your immigration questions. Call us with questions in law. I'm quite sure that we can find an attorney for you. And remember, folks, we are on Facebook as I check to make sure that all my pages have been shared. We're reminding each and every one, please share the pages once again with everybody. Mr. Bernstein, what's happening in and around our globe and the world and right here in New York City?
This morning we got a little rock this morning.
Yep.
A man walked into the Port Authority bus terminal, and from what the reports are, we are downtown. So this happened, for those who don't live in New York City, this happened in Midtown West, which is right below Times Square. It's about 2.5 miles or so from where we are right now, about a 15-minute taxi ride. And apparently during the height of rush hour, sometime right before 8 in the morning, a man walked into the Port Authority bus terminal. He had a bomb strapped to his body. He also had two pipe bombs in his hand. He threw one pipe bomb. It exploded. Apparently nobody was injured from the pipe bomb that he threw. And then he tried to ignite himself up as a suicide bomber. Luckily for the people in and around the Port Authority area, the State National Guard, the City of New York Police Department acted immediately. They tackled him. They arrested the man. Authorities jumped on top of him, were yelling to people within the Port Authority to go, run. And this man has been arrested, and apparently the only person injured physically is this alleged pipe bomber, suicide bomber. We don't know who he is yet. Obviously, a lot of people are emotionally scarred. It's very scary to be going to work on a Monday morning and have this happen. But in terms of physical casualties, the only one apparently, according to news reports so far, that is injured is the actual pipe bomber. So that's the excitement of the morning here in New York City. As we move along throughout the world, Squeeze.
As we move along.
I know you don't like to hear the word Trump.
All I have to say in reference to what you just mentioned is everybody out there, just please be very vigilant as to wherever you are in the world, but especially here in New York City where we are, and of course under the microscope. Yes.
So I know you don't like to hear the word Trump, but this has a legal issue here, Squeeze, that I wanted to point out. That we were actually talking about during our office holiday party Friday night at the W Hotel. Where I took everyone and their spouses out. We were about 80 people.
I was never invited.
Boyfriends or girlfriends. Not every boyfriend and girlfriend showed up, or spouse.
I was never invited.
You were invited?
No, I had to ask to be invited.
You were orally invited. There was no invitation.
I took it personal.
I know you did, and you left.
Yes,
and you left. I know that.
I am very sensitive like that.
I'm aware, but a lot of people got orally invited, did not get a physical invitation.
I was an afterthought.
You were not an afterthought.
Yes, I was too.
All right.
Because I heard you say to someone, did we invite Squeeze? And I'm like, what? I've been invited to what? And you said, the office party. I'm like, there is an office party?
So there was no afterthought because I asked to make sure that you were invited. It wasn't like we were all talking.
I wasn't.
And then you said,
I was not.
What office party? Well, all right. You were invited. You know you're always invited. You've been there for 19 years at this office party.
And now I need a personal invitation.
And now this year he took it very personally and decided not to come.
The older I get, the more sensitive I get.
So anyway, at our office party, had you been there, the one that you were invited to but you chose not to show up to.
I used to live in that building.
The attorneys were having a conversation. I know you did. We had it at the W Hotel downtown. The attorneys were having a conversation. There was two legal issues that happened that night, by the way. Number one is the attorneys were having a conversation amongst themselves before the drinking started about Donald Trump Jr. invoking, I guess he doesn't evoke, he invokes the attorney-client privilege. He went to go and testify before Congress, and Congress, either a senator or a congressman, had asked him about a conversation that he had with his father. and there were two on a telephone about this Russian investigation. There were two attorneys on the phone with him, and he says, I am not answering that question because of its violation of my attorney-client privilege, because my attorneys were on the telephone with me. And what all the attorneys in our office were talking about, because it just came out of the news on Friday, is, oh my God, this is like the first question that's asked on the bar exam, Donald Jr. You can't invoke attorney-client privilege if there is a non-attorney who is part of that conversation. So therefore, you know, when we talk on our show here,
right,
and you start telling me some BS, you know, like some callers come in and like, oh, Brad, let me tell you what happened. And, you know, all of a sudden I did all of this BS and blah, blah, blah. And I go, stop! It is not, you go, well, you're my attorney, Brad. No, I'm not. There's no privilege when you are telling an attorney something and there is a third party that's listening that is not an attorney. It is therefore, it breaks the attorney-client privilege.
Right.
So you can't invoke attorney-client privilege because Daddy was on the telephone. You dumbass. So that's the Trump dumbass news of the day. In addition, Kim Jong-un has now become a Twitter sensation. You thought you were a Twitter sensation. He is now a Twitter sensation. The state-run Korean news agency released an image of Kim Jong-un inspecting a potato factory. There he is, inspecting the potato factory. This is the factory that feeds the North Koreans. And the photo has captured the imagination and attention of all of Twitter.
Why does it not look like it's Photoshop?
What? It is not Photoshop. So now what they've done is they Photoshopped a Mr. Potato Head on top of Kim Jong-un's picture. Do we have it? There he is. This is now one of the biggest sensations on Twitter. Kim Jong-un. You do not find that funny at all. That made me laugh when I saw it. Okay. There's wildfires still going on in California. It's like Armageddon out there in LA. Why is DT not talking about this? Why are they not sending in federal resources? I don't know. So that's a big problem there as well. Here's an embarrassment. There's the fires. It looks like Armageddon out there, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Does.
Like
94,000 people, by the way, have been asked to
evacuate. Has anybody been killed yet from these fires?
I haven't seen or heard anything about that.
You have not heard about that.
But they're still in trouble out there.
They're in trouble?
They're in trouble because
Yes.
the wind is going to pick up again.
Yes, the wind is. As soon as the wind picks up, no matter how good the firefighters are,
Right.
the wind is going to carry.
The wind wins.
The wind is always going to win.
The wind
Mother
wins.
Nature wins.
Always.
All the time.
All
which
the
is
time.
why we're trying to explain to the coal miners it's not the Mexicans taking your jobs away, it's Mother Nature. And look what Mother Nature's doing now, Mr. Coal Miner in West Virginia, that you are making the planet warmer. He's taking it out on everybody, or she is taking it out on everybody. Yes.
And while we're here, folks, once again, the number is 1-800-529-5465, 1-800-529-5465. Give us a call, 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465.
So apparently, according to Jill, who just whispered in my ear, there are still migrant workers who, regardless of their safety, there they are. There are still migrant workers who are still working the farms. These people are most likely from Mexico or Central America. They are working the farms right next to the fires. They cover their mouths so they don't inhale the smoke. They are working minimum wage. They are probably working without papers. Yet they are still harvesting the crops before the farmers get to them. I mean, before the fires get to them, the farmers get to them, or Donald Trump gets to them. Who knows who will get to these migrant farmers first. So that's what's going on in California, Squeeze.
Okay.
By the way, the United States put 92 Somalis on a plane back to Somalia. Somalia wouldn't take the plane. They flew all the way to Africa It was in the news. Came all the way back to America.
Why?
I don't know why. It was an unexpected 5,000-mile backtrack for the migrants, some of whom have lived in the United States for over 20 years, while on a list of deportation. The plane never made it to Somalia. The flight landed in West Africa, Senegal, and facing, they quote, logistical problems. You know what logistical problems means, Squeeze? Somalia wouldn't take these people back. So the United States, in order for you, the United States can't throw the people off the plane at 10,000 feet. They actually got to land in Somalia. Somalia authorities have to come on the plane, take the people off the plane, and make sure that they are, in fact, Somalian citizens. Somalia apparently didn't want to do that. And therefore, the plane went all the way to Africa, flew around Africa, came back, and these poor Somalis who've been living in the United States for over 20 years are still now sitting in detention somewhere in the United States. Which leads you to believe that there is no way in hell the United States can deport the tens and tens of millions of people that DT says he's going to.
So what will happen to these folks now that came back?
They're going to sit in jail.
For how long?
Forever. However, there is something called, after 6 months, that you have a right to have your detention reviewed by a court if you have a good lawyer. So if you're being held by immigration for more than 6 months, and there is no reasonable chance that in the short term you are going to be able to be physically removed to another country and deported and physically dropped off there, they have to review your detention, and if you can prove that's not going to happen, they have to release you. Because immigration is a civil detention, not a criminal detention, so you can't be held in immigration jail indefinitely for years and years.
So it's not forever.
It's not forever, but you got to assert your rights. Nobody is asserting your rights for you.
Interesting. 1-800-LAW-LINK, folks. Getting to the phone lines shortly. Hopefully we'll have also a social media check-in where we get your immigration questions answered from the social media platforms, specifically Brad and Squeeze Show.
Oh, here's something interesting I just reading here now in the news, Squeeze.
What's that?
Golden Krust is hit with a lawsuit the day after the CEO commits suicide. They didn't even wait for the mourning period. Just days after Golden Krust CEO Lowell Hawthorne committed suicide in his Bronx factory. By the way, one of the most famous Jamaican entrepreneurs, came here with absolutely nothing. Okay, started off making copies, I think. That was his first job, if I read his history correct. And then made this huge company with over close to 2,000 workers, Golden Krust Bakeries from the 1980s to now. Two former workers, Sixto Ramirez and William Anderson, claim that during their employment there, he never paid them overtime. Now, if you are an hourly worker, and in the state of New York, if you're earning, I believe the threshold, I could be wrong, but I believe the threshold in New York is if you're earning under $48,000 a year, you have to be an hourly worker. And if you are not being paid overtime on a full-time basis, this is a full-time basis, you're not being paid overtime on a full-time basis, the company is liable for a lawsuit. So, and finally, did you see all the Santas gathering around and drinking this weekend? SantaCon? Did you dress up as Santa?
I was at work.
You were at work.
At Fiction Jamaica.